This is the GeoSketch Tools video for the Arc tool. As I described with the line tool, there's three primary differences between this tool and the standard SketchUp Arc tool. The most important being that we can construct arcs by projecting from the 2D image space of aux views. And then the other differences are that the inferencing is different, in that once we've completed a face with the Arc tool, that face will automatically be extruded, and the faces of the extrusion will be automatically textured using the imagery in the aux views. So in this example, we'll build a building adjacent to this rectangular building using both the line tool and the Arc tool. And when we're in the Arc tool, the left and right arrows are enabled to flip through the various images. And then also the modifier keys are enabled, including the Alt key to set the altitude. So if we just tap the altitude, we can key on the altitude of the ground plane, which is -22 feet. And the concept videos 2 and 3 describe how to determine the ground plane. And now we'll put the cursor on a pixel that's on the ground, and this time hold down the Alt key and measure the height of that building. The red line is being drawn in the modeling space and measuring the height of this building. Release the key, and it's just about 186 feet. And we can round it off to that value. And now we're drawing up at an altitude of 186 feet, and we'll use the line tool to do the majority of the edges in this building. We'll start back here at this tangent point. Draw our first edge, and then for the second edge we'll get our perpendicularity inferencing, draw out to this corner, and this one's perpendicular, and then we'll draw across here. That's not a perpendicular edge. And we'll draw out to this corner. Now we get our perpendicularity inferencing back, and we'll come out to this tangency point. Now we'll switch over to the Arc tool. We already have our starting point, do our ending point at the start of that first segment, and then we'll define the radius. And in this case, we did not get two lines where the arc can be tangent to both of them at once, so it's showing us that it's tangent to either one or the other. And as with the line tool, if we don't want inferencing, we can hold down the Control key, and now it will not snap to any inferencing. Or we can choose to say that it's tangent to that edge. And then because we started at the top of the building, we get our textured extrusion, and we can pull the bottom face down to be at the ground level of that other building. Now we can also draw arcs at the ground level, and one of the things about the Arc tool is that it's going to create segments at a length that we specify. So the arc segment length is currently set to 5 feet as shown in this prompt. If we want to change that, we can right click and go to the settings menu, and we want to change this arc segment length, and we can change it, for example, to be a higher value such as 20 feet. Now if we create an arc, and it tells us in the prompt that it's currently set to 20 feet and our altitude is set to 186 feet, we use the Alt key to set that back down to 0, and then we'll draw arc. And we can see that the segments are now larger. They're 20 feet. If we go in with the measure tool, now they won't be exactly 20 feet because we had to fit those an even number or an integer number of segments for the arc that we described, but they will be pretty close to 20 feet. So we can measure from this vertex to this vertex, and it's 20 feet 9 5/8 inches. So you can control the number of segments that you get. So it's important whenever you draw arc to consider how many facets that you want to get along that arc, and what you want the segment to be. So that's, and then we showed the Alt key for doing the altitude, and the Control key for turning inferencing off, and again the arrow keys for flipping through the various aux views. So that's about it for the Arc tool.